So welcome everyone, and this session of Over Coffee, sponsored by the Chester County Association of Township Officials. Today, the topic would be understanding the value proposition of council of government. And thank you to Ernie for setting this up. Ernie Hollings, the Executive Director of Cato. So I'd also like to point out Steve Alaban, President of Cato, and the Executive Board members. I'd like to say thank you to them. I enjoy working with this group. And let's go on to our next screen. So this is me. Matches up with the, I guess, what you saw of me a moment ago. I'm the Honeybrook Township Supervisor. And before I was a supervisor, I served on our Land Preservation Committee for 6 years. Currently on the Executive Board of Cato. And I'm also associated with a group called Pennsylvania COG. And we'll get into that later. So let's move on to the first thing, and this will be our agenda for today. What we'll talk about: what are the COGs, the Council of Governments? What can COGs do? Potential benefits of more COGs, looking at existing COGs in Chester County and looking beyond Chester County. And then what is next? If I take a pause at this point, any questions, anyone on the call? Take that as we'll just proceed. So what is a COG? And this is your textbook definition. So let's start off with councils of government are voluntary associations that represent member local governments, many cities and counties, and seek to provide cooperative planning, coordination, and technical assistance on issues of mutual concern that cross jurisdictional lines. In this sense, COGs serve to develop consensus on many issues that need to be addressed in a sub-regional or regional context. If properly structured, COGs duties complement and do not duplicate jurisdictional activities and serve to unify jurisdictions and agencies on matters of mutual concern, but independent of responsibilities traditionally exercised by the individual member within their own communities. Jurisdictions typically agree to form COGs following discussion and negotiation on common goals and objectives. I'm glad I found that textbook definition because I don't think I could have summarized it as succinctly as that. For purpose of distinction, we do sometimes come across what's called regional councils, and that's a similar thing. It's the same thing, essentially, a council of government. So the regional councils operate on a variety of programs and provide services designated to meet regional needs. Specific programs and activities often stem from contracts or agreements with state or federal agencies and other regional organizations and local government. Local governments contract with one another to perform a multitude of governmental functions and services through multi-jurisdiction agreements. Both of these definitions for the COG and regional COG is essentially saying this gives us the opportunity to go beyond our municipal meetings and address some of the concerns, issues that we're dealing with. There's times when we have developments and they may have an impact on the adjoining municipalities, so you want to be able to reach out to them. This might be one opportunity to do so. All right, so how many COGs in the United States? I was surprised when I came across this. It said at present, the National Association of Regional Councils estimate that currently of the 39,000 local general purpose governments in the United States, counties, cities, townships, towns, villages, and boroughs, that's a total of more than 35,000 are served by COGs. Some articles exist on the Council of Government in a particular state. And it's not necessarily one size fits all, as we'll soon find out. And what can a COG do? Well, I came across this COG in Massachusetts, and as you can see, that they've been in existence for 20 years, so they provide a full range of services. They have a governing board, steering committees, then they have opportunities to share health services, regional projects, transportation planning, just to name a few opportunities. So let's move to the next. And here, there's a publication that came out about 2 years ago. There's two, I believe there were two graduate students in the Pittsburgh area. They were able to interview several COGs, mostly on the western part of Pennsylvania. They came up with this report. If you're interested, I have the link to this document. We can share this presentation. And if you want to take a look, it's about 12 pages, I think 13 maybe altogether. So it's a quick read, but it's a gem of information on this topic. And its focus is on Pennsylvania. So the next thing is, what do we have in Chester County right now? So there's three groups that are servicing the Chester County area. One that I've been affiliated with is the Western Chester County Council of Government. Then there's Westchester Area Council of Governments, and then there's also Phoenixville Regional Planning Committee. Let's take a look at what that looks like. And we have, so the picture here shows the group from a few years ago, and members changed. It's the township officials, the supervisors, they changed the assignments, or some decide not to seek re-election, so you see the changing faces. But the mission pretty much carries from year to year. And also on this screen here, you see the link to a website for the Western Chester County COG. There's also a Facebook page that provides you with some updates. Here's something that the COG provided for me and for my community, and that is for FEMA, the National Incident Management System training. I was not aware that this was a requirement for municipal officials. So when you have an event where you have to seek reimbursement from FEMA, one of the things they want to ensure that your elected officials have NIMS training. So we were able to get all our membership trained on that. Move on to the next screen here, and we'll get to, okay, paused here for a second. Okay, next is the Westchester Area COG. Some of you may be familiar with this, and one of the projects that they're working on right now is an alternate energy project where by the year 2050 that the municipalities will be using alternative energy, solar, electric, and they've been moving ahead, coming up with some very good ideas. I've been reaching out to them to share that information with the Western Chester County COG. And the Western Chester County COG is 13 members at the moment. We have in the range of 4 or 5 municipalities along 322, some to the south in the, surrounding the city of Coatesville. Also, the Phoenixville Regional Planning Committee. I've had a discussion with some of their members, and they too are doing some great things for the northern part of the county. So will more COGs benefit Chester County? That's primarily the question that I'm asking today, and hope that you may have an interest. If you don't currently participate in one of these COGs, let's go ahead. Some of the areas are the communication channel. It's an improvement for the opportunities to talk to other municipalities, get to know some supervisors. You do have that exchange at the Cato meetings where you get to meet some of your fellow supervisors and shared concerns. This group will be a focus group on some of the things that you'll be looking at. Cooperation. After that discussion, you may end up saying, we have a shared issue that we want to address. We could probably better solve this issue by working together. The collaboration piece of it, and finally cost efficiencies. Working together, you may find that the vendors might be providing some discounts when they're dealing with larger numbers. As an example, I've used a technology initiative in which If you're going to a company like Microsoft and you only have 4 or 5 licenses to purchase, you're paying full cost. But if you have a group that joins together and you have a group of 40 people through this cog, purchasing through the cog, then you may find some volume discounting and save your municipality some money that way. Okay, so how do we get started? All right, we plant a seed and see what will emerge. Okay, cogs in Chester County, we know that there's 3. In the picture below that, we're hoping we can service more cogs in Chester County. So what can we do for the region? So there's environmentally significant projects, air quality, area-wide clearinghouse for review of financial assistance from the federal, state, and county sources. Oftentimes our discussions, someone brings up about a grant that they just applied for, and the other municipalities will say, hey, tell me more, how do I go about that? Regional housing needs assessment, hazardous and solid waste management. This is not taking over responsibility for any of these responsibilities that may be for the local government, for Chester County. This is just making sure that we understand some of our responsibilities. But if there's something that you need to do, you might be able to learn from your fellow municipalities. And then again, a good clearinghouse for information has always been for Cato. Some of the issues: water quality, waste management, also transportation, regional police. How do you go about that? Regional EMS. That was an initiative we had at the Western Chester County COG, where we had 6 municipalities join together. And if I take a moment to step back on that, when I first had to deal with the storm, power was out for about 24 hours. I was relying on my emergency management coordinator, who was new to the job, so I was pretty much lost. I reached out to West Brandywine. They were able to walk me through what I needed to do. It was a great cooperative effort. They are a partner with us in that COG. Also, another area that I point out: internships. This would give some of our local students in high schools and colleges the opportunity to learn about government. And in many cases, this is an opportunity that they don't have afforded to them. The Council of Governments. So the formation of a COG comes under the authority of Pennsylvania Act 180 of 1972, the Intergovernmental Cooperation Law. This law permits local governments to act in cooperation with other municipalities. So yes, it's a legal arrangement. And when you go to set up these COGs, you have to come up with a document, an agreement. You bring it back to your municipality. You sign a resolution adopting that, and then you have the authority to proceed. So an approach that you can take: reach out to your township officials. On the left, if your municipality is participating in a COG, reach out to your township officials and provide them with your ideas on what is needed to continue to make our region a safe and healthy place to live. If your municipality is not participating in a COG, reach out to your township officials and provide them with your interest, having surrounding municipalities working together to solve problems that impact the region. So where do we begin? Contact the existing COGs. You can contact me. There's also another group called the PA COG. So we can expand on the current COGs. If you were to join the Western Chester County COG, there's 13 current members. You may be interested in joining that, or West Chester Area COG. I'm speaking mostly for the Western Chester County COG, but not on behalf of the other COGs. There is a group that is doing an excellent job for helping us throughout Pennsylvania, the Pennsylvania Council of Government, and this is their homepage. So as you see, the Pennsylvania Association of Councils of Government, the voluntary organization created to foster a cooperative effort in the solution of common municipal problems. They have about 84 members. There's membership dues. It's not. It's a few $100s, I believe, to participate. There will be a conference, excuse me, in October in Gettysburg. Usually the meetings are in State College. So there's a link that you can go to that website. There was a presentation that was given to the State Assembly by a gentleman, Alan Kugler, who is a consultant for the COG, and I have a link to his presentation at PDF. So he was discussing with our state legislators about the existence of the COG, the purpose, and what it's doing for our communities and region, and how it can assist the legislators in providing those solutions to the problems that we're dealing with. Central Region Council of Government. This is a COG that's been around for nearly 50 years. And some of the initiatives they have through this COG, they contribute somewhere in the range of $1 million to their library system. So they have some very impressive achievements that they've done over the years. And on this page, it shows here the COG Articles of Agreement. That's what I spoke about earlier, the legal document that will put together one of these groups, one of these organizations. And on the bottom there, Central Region Land Consumption Study 2020 utilizes regional growth boundaries to direct where a majority of future growth and development should occur. So this is something that would have been valuable in New Jersey, where I grew up. We did not see the cooperation setting those regional growth boundaries. When I go back to New Jersey, I feel very crowded. It's very, with all the sprawl, with all the unrestrained growth. So I admire what the work of some of the municipalities have done throughout our state. What's also going on across the United States? So I've pulled a few from across the country. Association of Bay Area Governments says, I believe that's San Francisco Bay, Atlanta, Baltimore, California. Let's take a look at that. This is Maricopa Association of Governments, and they too have quite a few projects in the works. California Association of Council of Governments. So transportation and housing initiatives, one of the things, they're looking at $1 million projects. Bay Area Regional Housing Technical Assistance Program. It's the first iteration of a regional early action program providing funding for the Council of Governments responsible for developing regional housing needs allocation to accelerate and support housing planning. It was a regional counterpart to the local early action program, which was distributed directly to cities and counties. Excuse me. So this is following California law, and this enables the state to provide the solutions across the state. And in Denver, this is an interesting picture that they have on their website showing the bike lanes. Also, I feel it's kind of an interesting contrast on the right. Out with the old, in with the new. You have the person walking here, and the other younger people seem to be on their bicycles. Just my comment. But I've been to Denver, beautiful city, and there's a lot of effort that they put into providing for a safe and healthy environment. In Connecticut, they have 9 planning regions, and they work through regional COGs. It also provides their statutory requirements that authorize the creation of these organizations. And look at North Carolina. They also have quite an effort going on here. So they have a statewide service delivery. 16 regional councils cover the state. In 2010, the regional council signed an interregional cooperative agreement that established a policy to enhance their value by sharing member resources and capacity to deliver services to the state of North Carolina. And then they have a very clear, concise mission statement. In Texas, and look at that, there's 24 service areas. They too have implement cost-effective, results-oriented strategies that address statewide and local needs on a regional scale. So that winds up the presentation of the COG, and I'll open up for discussion in a moment. Just a couple more slides to finish up. So I'm John McHugh, and here's my contact information. Also, this is a commentary on what I said earlier about the internships. In 1972, so that puts me back a few years, I was a part of a student government day. It was an internship, took me around the county to the municipal, the county road department, look at the court system and such. And it got my interest. So you never know. You might have an intern today go through a program like this, and they may end up being your township official in the near future. And I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's call. This took us through 25 minutes. I think we have some time now if we'd like to open up for discussion. So, Ernie, would you like to open up for the discussion?
Yeah, people can take themselves off mute and join the conversation, and they can also turn their video on so they can join in.
I'll stop sharing. There we go. All right, Ernie, I turn that over to you.
You may have done such a good...
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I'd say you must have done such a good job that nobody has any questions.
Hey, I don't know if I'm unmuted. John, hey, this is Paul Mullen from Count Township. How you doing?
Good, Paul. Good to see you. Or good to have you.
Yeah, no, I chimed in earlier on my phone while I was stuck in traffic, and then I waited till I got to my office to get on the video here.
Okay.
But I did want to say Jane Kennedy, one of our commissioners, part of that Greater Westchester COG. She does get a lot of good information out of that. She brings to our township meetings. So it has been beneficial for us. And I know at one point they were discussing maybe either merging or opening up the area, not just in Westchester County, but reaching further east. Any word on that?
Yeah, to fill the gap, that if there's no existing COG, that would certainly be good. It really depends on the focus. When we created the Western Chester County, as in the title, we were duplicating the Western Chester County Chamber of Commerce service area. But if there's an interest in other municipalities that feel that there's issues that they are dealing with that are similar to what's in our region, certainly I would hope that they would have that interest.
Nice. I know she keeps bringing up, I guess, the SPCA issue with the animals.
Yes.
That's one of the hot topics.
Yes.
And how does that play out? What each township actually pays into that, and they just don't think we're getting the money out of it or the value?
Correct. What happened to Honeybrook Township at one point, when people turn in some strays, for instance, this one month we had a bill of over $3,000. So the person, several people turned in, they found a litter of cats, and then all the medical treatment and all that will get charged back to the municipality. So the person who turns in the strays to the SPCA, they will look at their driver's license and say, okay, we'll charge that to your township, Callan Township. And so we're trying to find a way that we can ensure that we have contracts that will pay one annual fee that will cover all the needs, that we're not hit with a large bill at some point, which will happen from time to time.
Smart idea. All right. Well, that was it. I think it's very beneficial.
Good.
You can get some more townships involved.
Very good. Yes, I think the Chester County Commissioners I spoke to before the pandemic, and now that we're hopefully getting back on track, we'll be able to pick up on this and see if we can form some for the other regions that are not participating right now.
One of the
Because
things when I was on the Board of Supervisors in West Pikeland Township was joining the Phoenixville group. And what we do in that group, amongst other things, is develop our 10-year plans. And we end up sharing the costs of developing the 10-year plan that applies to all the members. So we went from a cost factor, well, now probably 15 years ago, of $72,000 down to $6,000 as our share of that regional plan. It also allows us to move the mandatory things from one municipality to another. So as an example, we could say, okay, all the commercial stuff's going to be in Phoenixville. Not that we've said that, but at least that flexibility is there. They can have the trailer parks.
We're in my area, we do have some new development coming in, and even though we've taken the time putting together our comp plan, and we did our last comp plan with Honeybrook Borough, some of the residents weren't paying attention, and now with some developments coming in, they're saying, "How come you didn't block this out?" Or "How come how come it's going in my backyard?" But if we hadn't taken the time to ensure we had those comp plans and do it on a regular basis, I'm sure we would have a lot of residents who were not too pleased.
yeah, I just met with a resident yesterday. There's a development over by the VA hospital. It's
Oh yeah,
being built, and unfortunately, the development itself is being built up on a hill, and the resident is down below. Beautiful 6-acre land, beautiful
yeah.
old farmhouse, and his issue is that they have no intention on putting up privacy trees. So the folks looking out their back patio could just have a beautiful view of what he's doing. No, yeah, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, yeah, this project was discussed like 6 years ago before I became
yeah,
commissioner.
yeah,
So, what can you do on that?
yeah. When I spoke to my residents at one of my meetings, I said that I had the benefit of uh, living through this growth when I was growing up in New Jersey. And one resident said, "Well, this is Pennsylvania. This isn't New Jersey." I said, "Yeah, but if
Yeah,
we take the time to look at what happened and what was done poorly in the past, and then we can do a better job this time around."
yeah. You said you were up what Tom's River? Is that where? What I read?
Yes, I lived in Beechwood, which is right outside of Tom's River, so we're part of the Tom's River School District, and Tom's River was like I would refer to as Sleepy Hollow for back in the 1950s, and today it's
Hmm.
just it's a city for the most part.
My aunt lived up there for years before she passed.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Going up to visit, yeah.
If it was one of the houses in Holiday City or Crestwood Village, I probably was the guy that put the roof on the house. Anyone who could swing a hammer in, high school or college days, you could find a residential construction job building all those senior citizen villages out that way. So for Chester County, though, we had the same westward expansion. What happened in Ocean County, most of the development was closer to the ocean. And when we first moved to Ocean County, Jackson, New Jersey, was a place that was just woods. Nobody really lived out that way. Then a few years ago, a friend of mine said bought a house in Jackson, and I said, "What brings you out there?" He says, "Well, affordable housing." He said, and I go, "How?" What's the cost? He said, "Well, you can't find anything under 300,000." I said, "In Jackson?" But
Wow.
it's all over. And the same thing's happening to us right now. If you pass on 322 in Guthriesville area, some of the townhouses there are in the low 400s now.
Yeah, you believe that? Yeah,
One
I
of
don't
these
know what they're
days,
going to be selling that new development that you see coming up on the left side.
Yeah.
in Count Township. Yeah, I don't know what the pricing will be on those. The huge development.
One of our recent presentations, the developer said, as far as the prices, they'll look to the market and determine what they're going to uh, advertise. So they haven't broke ground yet, but depending on where the market falls out in the next year or two, for them, maybe 3 or 4 years down the road, that's where the pricing will be. I hope it drops down because my son is looking to buy and it's way over too much for him right now.
Yeah. Yeah. When we moved out here in 1995, the pricing was so low, it was perfect. Of course,
Yes,
everything's coming west. Everything's coming our way. So
exactly. Yeah,
things are going to be increasing.
yeah. And this is where the COG is a good clearinghouse, just like Cato conferences have been a good clearinghouse for that information. I've often walked away from a Cato conference with 5 or 6 business cards and reaching out to some people. Same thing, Paul. We've had some discussions at our COG meetings along with some people from the other municipalities, and if anything, you're learning something. You may not jump into a current project, but at least you're learning something. And as you say, you in your discussions, you're sharing the information, what's going on in the area, which is valuable to your boards.
Hmm. Well, if anything, Count Township can do to help out, just let us know.
We will. We used to utilize your township building for about 4 or 5. That's about 4 years maybe. Then I just did a thing I called Go on the Road. We were going to different municipalities just to get an opportunity for some of the members to see some of the other municipalities. We certainly enjoyed the hosting that your municipality provided over the years. Pam, is there any activity going on here in West Whiteland? Pam, you have a lot of development in your area, correct?
Yes, sorry, I couldn't get myself off mute. We do have a lot of development, and we are members of the Westchester Area COG,
Yes.
and that's really been super helpful for us.
Yes.
Yeah, we found that, just from contracts to, different ideas. Now we're doing, like you mentioned earlier, the renewable energy program. We just hired a sustainability coordinator who's starting next week, actually.
Good.
So, yeah, so lots going on, but all good stuff. I don't see it dying down any too much.
Sure.
Mhm.
I was surprised when I attended one of the meetings for the Westchester Area COG, and I said I'm a member of the Westchester Area COG, and they go, oh, "We didn't even know you had one." So I said, "Well,
Oh,
I think it's time we start talking." But it's good that you have that focus for the area, and now that I've gotten to know some of the people in that group, wonderful people, same willing to share, come and I'm really happy that you opened the door to us.
that's great. It's great.
Well, I do have a contact at Chester County, Rachel Griffith. She is a sustainability director. She just attended our last COG meeting, and I did a presentation on electric vehicle charging stations. So she is looking to help us out on some projects. The county is looking at different grants and programs, to reach out to her, pull her in. That's what she's there for. So it's great to see that things are falling into place for us.
That's good. That's good. We have 2 charging stations right now, and they are always used. We have the
Yes.
apartment building next to us, and a lot of folks have the electric Teslas.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the things that I spoke to my township manager about is the more ordinances and stuff for the electric charging stations in the house, so that we have to have inspections and some guidelines for that. So we don't have that right now in our township. So that'll be coming up. And we just doubled our number of charging stations. We're at 4 charging stations.
I think we need to be too next year.
Yeah. We have a grant, part of that Volkswagen payout thing, that there's some money out there. And that's where I'm telling the Westchester COG members, this would be the time, if you want to, look at this opportunity. So we're putting 2 charging stations in our municipal lot at the admin building. And I stated at the chamber meetings, Chamber of Commerce meetings, we want to ensure that when people come out to Western Chester County, that if they have electric vehicles, they feel comfortable in knowing that there's some charging stations out there in case they need them. And businesses are like, yeah, that's a good point. We don't want people staying away from us and going over to another municipality that actually has the charging stations. And if you see the trend right now, number of electric vehicles, the sales are just taking off. Surprised to see Ford has an F-150 truck, all electric. Volvo has I think a CR40 or something. That's a luxury vehicle. It's all electric. So within the end of this decade, I think you're going to see a lot of electric vehicles. On the turnpike's another thing too, where you're going to be able to stop along the turnpike and get a charge. They have the type of charge where it's direct charge, direct instead of the alternate AC converter. This is direct charge charging stations along the Pennsylvania Turnpike, like rest areas they'll have. A lot is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any, from your perspective, have you looked at the electric vehicles, or?
You mean at a personal level?
Yes.
Yeah. Right now, I have a hybrid.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
And I bought that a couple of years ago.
Good.
So running with a hybrid, and then next year we'll probably replace the car and probably all electric.
Yes. Yeah. Anticipating if I keep promoting electric vehicles and I pull up to a presentation and I'm not in an electric vehicle, people are going to say, you don't believe in what you're preaching?
That is true.
That would be the first time for an elected public official.
Yes. Maybe we should come up with a elected official discount. Some of the local dealers say, we're so poorly paid in our township official duties, right?
Yes.
I have people say to me, oh, you're getting $2,500 a month? I go, no, that's in a year.
Yeah.
They say, you're not getting paid. That's volunteer work. Well,
I calculated it once, and it turned out to be about 10 cents an hour.
yes, that's what my son did the same thing. He said, Dad, you're making less than $1 an hour. But, we're glad Pam, Paul, and others, they're out there and, doing the stuff that we need to get done.
Thank you.
Labor of love. Yep.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right. Well, I guess might want to wind it down, give you some time back. I appreciate you jumping on the call. We'll circulate this presentation. And again, thank you, Ernie, for setting this up. This is appreciate this. This was really a great opportunity for me to get the word out.
And you're more than welcome, John. It was a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
It was very great.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
You're
very
welcome.
good.
You have a good week.
You
You
too.
too.
Take care.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.